the reel-to-reel picture show. And now here's our host, Pat Fuller.
Our show offers you something that no other shopping show has to offer. Let me say that one more time.
You wanted to give your prizes here and that you were here for that great cause of anti-bullying. And there's no way that I can stand here and take all of that from you.
Hello everybody and welcome to another edition of Game Show Garbage. I am Robert Q. Seidelman. Well, the unofficial Summer of Gaming now continues here on the website as we get to talk about one of the worst video game companies of all time, and that is Ludia. Ludia is responsible for a lot of the reality show and game show home game translations for the Wii, Xbox 360, and all the consoles and mobile phones right now. The problem with Ludia is that most of the stuff they put out is outright garbage. The games are mainly just shovelware games you can play for free on Facebook, on GSN.com, and various other websites, or that you can play for free when you just watch the shows either on cable or on TV or on YouTube. But the game we're going to talk about right now is kind of similar to a lot of the garbage that Ludia did put out. I've already talked about Pressure Luck for the Wii, and that was a hot mess. Tim Connolly has talked about the $1 Million Pyramid video game for his YouTube channel, which, by the way, if you haven't checked that one out yet, please do. It's an excellent, excellent review. But the game I'm saddled with today is a game that nobody wanted to play. I mean, who in their right mind thought that this was a good idea? So, let's take a look at Hollywood Squares for the Nintendo Wii. Now, before we take a look at the game, a little flashback to 1989 would be appropriate. In that time period, Game Tech basically made every single game show video game, or at least every good game show video game ever made. They weren't spectacular games by any stretch of the imagination, but they were faithful and playable to the show. One game that they did well was Hollywood Squares with John Davidson. The game was a faithful port from the Davidson version in terms of look and feel and gameplay. Each of the 9 computer quote-unquote celebrities would be ready with zingers to give you some sort of cheap laugh. You played 3 games, with the first 2 being worth $500, the third being worth $1,000, and the person with the most money got to drive away in one of these brand new cars. Ooh! It was cool for a quick play, but I would like to see more questions used, and also the card game being random instead of having a set pattern for the keys would have been nice. Still, it's a fun game, and if you get it for $3 or so, it's worth it. And now we get to talk about the actual Wii game itself. And if you look at the cover, you can see that we have Brad Garrett, Kathy Griffin, Jeffrey Tambor, and Martin Mull. Celebrities that you would think would actually be in the game. Celebrities that would give you new zingers to go along with new questions asked by host Tom Bergeron. But do we get any new zingers? Do we get any of that stuff? Nope. Instead, when they are selected, we get a Sega CD-sized video of a clip from the show of Tom asking a question, then the zinger followed up with the answer. On the surface, this might be okay, but will expose why the game is one of the laziest releases that Ludia ever produced. And that's really saying something. Aside from the celebs that occupy the center square every week, you get 8 computer quote-unquote celebrities to give out zingers. Oh wait, they don't here! They instead give you an answer and you must move on. It makes a game that had comedy as its strong suit boring as hell. They made Hollywood Squares boring. They made Hollywood Squares boring. How do you mess that up? I mean, ugh. That's the type of thing that brings games like this down hard. They expect comedy. They expect something. They don't expect a straightforward question-answer style game. What do you think this is, the bonus game for the 2001-2002 season? And nobody liked that. Nobody likes this either. If there are a couple bright spots about the game, it's that they actually spent the money to get Tom Bergeron to do voiceovers for the questions. That's cool and everything, but he sounds like he would rather be anywhere else. And I don't blame him. He didn't have the oomph or passion they had when he actually hosted the show. I'm assuming that it's the recording for the 1,500 or so questions were done over the course of a couple long recording sessions. meaning he had to not overexert himself and not strain something. Another good thing is that they stuck to the best format of the Bergeron run, and that's the last one. The game is the best 2 out of 3 match, with the second game being the Secret Square. The winner plays the bonus game, which is $20,000 and an unlockable article of clothing for your character, which is if you do want to continue to play the game. I'd rather have a collection of bloopers or zingers from the show, much like the recent Family Feud release that had clips from the Steve Harvey version on there. Sure, they were the same ones that are on YouTube, but it's still something to continue playing the game for. But wait, there's more. There's actually a 2-player version of the game, so you can actually play this with a friend. And it's an even shorter experience than the first-player game. 2-player mode plays the same as single-player mode, except for the one single thing that kinda ruins it all. There is no bonus game. You figure there would be the bonus game to allow for both people to unlock the costumes, but no, instead it becomes another hollow experience from Ludia. Another problem that I have is that every question in the front game has to be a cliffhanger of sorts. I swear the game pauses with a Millionaire-esque drum beat for 5 seconds before it reveals a correct answer. It's not that hard to quickly tell someone if they are right or wrong. This isn't Millionaire where you're going for life-changing amounts of money, although fake. You're just going for a square in a comedy game. But the biggest problem I have with this game is that graphically, it looks abysmal. These are the type of graphics that you'd see on a PlayStation 1 game. The character models for Brad Garrett and the rest of the celebs look a little bit like the real-life counterparts, but not by much. The character models in the set look all washed out and uninspired. This gets me worked up because graphically, the Wii is capable of great games that look amazing, such as Metroid Prime 3 or Super Smash Bros. Brawl. But this wouldn't even pass for good N64 graphics, let alone a Gen 7 console. Out of all of the games that Ludia produced, I can't say that this is the worst one. That honor still goes to Million Dollar Pyramid. But this game really isn't that far off. You take a comedy game and you make it boring, you make 2-player mode even shorter than the first-player mode, and you recycle questions from the actual show and ruin it because you edit it down. I forgot about that part too. When they show clips from the show and one of the celebs that they have in the clip is not part of the game, if it's not Brad, Tom, Kathy Griffin, Martin Mull, or Jeffrey Tambor, they fade to black and they fade back to what the celebrity did. It's lazy and uninspired, and I guess they wanted to be cheap about it to avoid copyright. Instead, I give this the number 2 spot because I feel cheated because I actually spent $10 on this game in a bargain bin, and you kind of have to pay me $10 to play this game again. The graphics are awful, the game is terrible. This is an awful, terrible, no good, very bad game. Now, before I leave you, I need to make a quick correction on an induction I did a few years ago. When I did the Pressure Luck Wii induction, I said that there wasn't an official video game release in the 20-year span between the 1988 computer version and the 2008 Wii release. I admit I make mistakes, and I was wrong. There was one other Pressure Luck release out there, and I gotta say, looking back at it now, it is not the worst Pressure Luck experience out there. It's not the worst Pressure Luck experience out there because this goddamn thing is!
Put your hammer down, I'm about to